The 1990 season would literally begin on the West Coast as UT agreed to play in the inaugural Pigskin Classic. Colorado began moving the ball with its ensuing possession, driving to the Tennessee 47. But Hagan tried one pass too many, and he was introduced to Dale Carter. So were Vol fans. Carter had arrived on the UT campus less than a month before, and within 2 weeks, the junior college transfer was first team free safety. Carter's first interception in a Vol uniform stopped the Buffalo drive, and his tackle-busting 34-yard return left the Big Orange with 1st and 10 on the Colorado 41. This time, the Volunteers cashed in. Andy Kelly and Carl Pickens connected for 21 yards and a first down on 3rd and 13. From there, Chuck Webb took over. The Vols' sophomore tailback carried on 4 straight plays. The last one a 3-yard burst that put the Big Orange on the scoreboard with a 7-0 lead. It could have gotten bigger just moments later when Hagan was intercepted by Mark Fletcher. Again, the Vols couldn't capitalize as a holding penalty negated a 14-yard run by Webb that would have left UT with a first down at the Colorado 5. Instead, Tennessee was again left with a Burke field goal opportunity from 44, and again it was blocked. The Vols' lead was 7-0 at the end of 1, but the missed opportunities would come back to haunt the Big Orange later. In the meantime, the Buffaloes were getting untracked on offense, driving the ball at the suspect Tennessee defense time and time again on a 97-yard drive. Getting to the UT2, Colorado suddenly felt the Big Orange D stiffen as 3 plays netted but 1 yard. But on 4th and goal at the 1, Buffalo fullback George Hemingway plunged into the end zone and knotted the game at 7-all. The 2 teams traded second quarter field goals, and the half ended just the way it started, tied. It wouldn't stay knotted at 10 for long. On Colorado's second possession of the 3rd quarter, Pritchard redeemed himself for his earlier fumble, blasting 55 yards to put the Buffaloes in front by 7. Colorado was now taking control, thanks in large part to the Volunteers themselves. Mistake after mistake was killing Big Orange drives. And then it looked as if a special teams miscue had done them in for good.
Taken at the 45-yard line of Colorado. Moving to the far sideline to the 50. Down to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. All the way goes McLuhan, and it will be touchdown for the Buffaloes.
It's over, right? Wrong. Andy Kelly, who hadn't really had a good first 3 quarters, got hot, leading the Volunteers 70 yards in just 41 seconds. Pay dirt came from 24 yards away when the junior signal caller found Alvin Harper for the score. So the Vols were within 7 and looking for a break. They got it on the ensuing kickoff. Lee Wood went into a mass of humanity and recovered this fumble at the Buffalo 19. And suddenly UT had its chance to tie. That ended 2 plays later as Kelly's pass was deflected and intercepted by Tim James. The knockout punch appeared to come just 2 plays after that. It's really over now, right? Wrong again. Kelly this time needed 1 minute and 35 seconds to negotiate 87 yards, finding Pickens for 14 and a big 6. 5.5 minutes remained, and again the Volunteers were only down 7. But if Tennessee was to get even, the Vol defense was going to have to stop Colorado. They did. The Buffaloes were forced into their first 3 plays and punt situation of the afternoon. And Kelly and company took over at the UT 26. Kelly was beginning to look like Mario Andretti at the controls as once again Tennessee was blowing down the field. This Kelly to Pickens aerial covered 29 yards and left the Big Orange with a first down at the Buffalo 17. Here the drive almost stalled. Alfred Williams' sack of the UT quarterback for an 8-yard loss and 2 short completions left the Vols with a 4th and 7 at the Colorado 12. Enter Alvin Harper. The senior wide receiver has been known to make the big catch, and none was bigger than this 8-yard reception that saved the drive.
Webb is in as a running back. Handoff Webb. Tries the middle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Give him 6. Touchdown, Charles Webb. Tennessee trails by 1. 41-30. And now, what will be the call?
The call was for the extra point team, and Burke converted to give the Vols a tie. 2:17 was left, and the Buffaloes were devoid of a passing attack. Colorado reached its own 45, and on a 4th and 8 chose to punt and accept the tie. After all, Tom Ruin's kick put the Volunteers at their own 23 with just 30 seconds to play. But in the furious pace of the 4th quarter, the Buffalo defenders were worn out, and 2 Webb runs and a crucial too many men on the field penalty left Tennessee at the Colorado 41. "35 points in the final 10 minutes made for an exciting inaugural Pigskin Classic." From the West Coast, back home to play a team from the West Coast. Pacific, coached by former Vol offensive coordinator Walt Harris, was expected to be a soft touch, and Tennessee's first drive bore out that fact. The UT offense went through the Tiger defense like a hot knife through butter. Webb's 8-yard touchdown run came less than 2 minutes into the game.
Handoff Webb, veers to the outside, turns it on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What did he do? Touchdown, Chuck Webb. Chuck Webb made that move to the inside field and explodes to the outside.
Well, that's not a Colorado defensive end there, Tom, but there was a man there. Nobody even blocked. Webb was going, looked up, had him right in. He looked him right in the face, gave him a little juke and bing. He was outside of him before he knew what happened into the end zone.
After a Floyd Miley interception left the Vols with a first down at the Pacific 19, tragedy struck, and the course of the year would change very quickly.
The 20 struggles down to the 18-yard line. He ran about 40 yards to pick up 2 and almost broke it. It was completely hemmed in as he started to his left. He was then plugged. He spun, comes back to the right side, and now it will be Webb limping off the football field to the near side to be replaced at tailback by Tony Thompson.
Tennessee went on to blow out Pacific 55-7, but no one in attendance was cheered up by the stellar performances of Tavio Henson and Tony Thompson. They were waiting for word early the next week on Webb's knee. The news came, and it was not good. Chuck Webb had torn his anterior cruciate ligament and would require surgery that would end his season. The Vols would be forced to defend their SEC title without their gifted tailback.
Tennessee Football Classics Vintage Orange. A look back at the 1990 Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee opened that season with a tie against Colorado in the Disneyland Pigskin Classic and came back with a romp over Pacific 55-7. But in that game, Tennessee lost Chuck Webb. So now who was going to step up at tailback? Tennessee turned to a senior, little used in his first 4 years at Tennessee, by the name of Tony Thompson. And the Mississippi State game in Game 3 was a breakout game for that running back.
The Bulldogs had served as the Volunteers' proverbial thorn in the side, always finding themselves in a place on the UT schedule where they could slip up on the Big Orange. They appeared to have another great shot. All eyes for this day would be riveted on senior tailback Tony Thompson. Thompson had always been a reliable backup, but now he was the Vol tailback. And the game's first drive didn't bode well for the diminutive darter. As the Vols moved inside the Maroon 10, Thompson coughed up the ball. 2 more possessions deep into Mississippi State territory produced only this Greg Burke field goal. And everyone was left wondering if this wasn't to be a dog day afternoon. They were becoming convinced when Tony James became the second player in 3 games to run back a punt on the Vols, racing 70 yards to give State a 7-3 lead. At this point, Tony Thompson had apparently seen enough.
Handoff Thompson, big hole up the middle, breaks it to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40. He's got a blocker in front, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5. What did he do? He scored for the Big Orange.
Then Thompson proved Chuck Webb wasn't the only one with moves in the UT tailback corps, juking his way for an 80-yard score.
The pitch will go to Thompson. Reverse is handed off, faked. It's Thompson keeping the ball to the right side, gets free to the outside to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 40. What a move he puts on at the 35, 30, 25, 20. 15, 10, 5, all the way. What a move. Tony Thompson, touchdown, Big Orange.
Just like that, The Volunteers had gone from 4 down to 10 in front, but they weren't through. On 2nd and 9 at the State 32, Tennessee dug deep into its playbook for a favorite from another era.
Here's Kelly, play action, rolling to the right side, being pursued, may run with the ball, but instead hands the ball on the left side to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10. Who's got the ball? Bernard Daphne. I completely lost it. But it's Daphne who ends with the football, and Philip Fulmer sitting to my left, calling the play, turns with something, Bill, we had never seen before. And Bernard Daphne ends up with a football, and Tennessee's coaching staff is jubilant.
I don't know who designed that play, but I guarantee you if that worked, I'm totally lost. I don't know. He must have given it to him on the inside handoff and brought it back. It fooled everybody. I never saw it.
He was an eligible hand, I guess. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea what happened, except that Daphne, at 300 pounds, is in the end zone.
The second half didn't produce a lot of offense. As a matter of fact, Burke's 2 third-quarter field goals would be it. But the UT defense was suddenly dominant, as the Bulldogs could get nothing going in the second half. Linebacker Ernest Fields was the leader, and his interception return for a touchdown capped the scoring in the Vols' 40-7 thumping. While the defense was superb, Tony Thompson was the big star. Coming in, his ability was questioned. After the 248-yard rushing performance against State, Thompson was named SEC Back of the Week. Questions answered, it was time to go home for UTEP. David Lee's Miners from Texas El Paso had only one real hope to beat Tennessee, that the Vols would be looking to Auburn and not at them. They found out in the first quarter it would not be the case. The offense did their thing as Tony Thompson scored touchdowns on each of the Vols' first 3 possessions. The defense did their thing too and even put points on the board when Ernest Fields recovered a punt blocked by J.J. McCleskey for a score. Only 16 minutes into the contest, the Big Orange led 28-0. When it was over, almost every Tennessee player in uniform played in the 56-0 whitewashing. The UTEP game ended a 3-game stretch that led in one direction, to Auburn and the first showdown of the conference season. The previous September, Tennessee proved its power with a convincing 21-14 win over Auburn in Knoxville. But as Big Orange fans have learned, a win in Knoxville and a win at Auburn are two different things. A crowd of over 85,000 arrived early, and a national television audience viewed the biggest contest in the country intently. Here were 2 undefeated top 10 teams, and the whole world expected it to be physical. It was. Tennessee struck first, thanks to its defense. Tiger punter Richie Nell was on the back line of his end zone and hurried a punt that went out of bounds at the Auburn 25. Then it was time for the Tiger defense to stiffen. 3 Tennessee plays netted but 7 yards, but Greg Burke got the call. For the 7th time in 1990, Burke converted, and UT led 3-0. Again, the Vol D set up the offense. A Jeremy Lincoln interception gave the Big Orange the ball on the Tiger 28. And again, the offense can't punch it home. UT did pick up 3 more as Burke converts from 28 yards away. Midway through the second quarter, the Volunteers get the big play to extend their lead.
Auburn may come with the pressure. Here it is. Kelly dumps the pass down and out. The pass is complete. Pull down at the 40, to the 45, up to the 50. He turns it on to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, to the 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Alvin Harper!
With the missed 2-point conversion, Tennessee's lead is 12-0, but not for long. Auburn quarterback Stan White hits Bo Joseph, and then Joseph is hit. Freshman Roderick Lewis recovers and then rambles 30 yards to the Tiger 5. Back-to-back Greg Amsler surges produce the needed 5, and suddenly and shockingly, the homestanding Tigers are down 19-0. Auburn tallies a late field goal, but as the half ends, a quiet Jordan-Hare Stadium watches a confident Tennessee team leave the field up 16 with a confident feeling, but a knowledge that there is much work to be done. In previous years, a 16-point edge on Auburn was pretty safe. After all, the Tigers couldn't pass, so they couldn't score quickly, but no more, and Tennessee would learn that very quickly. Tennessee shows poise, moving steadily down the field, but the ball passing game is faltering, and the drive stalls at the Tiger 31. The Big Orange calls on Greg Burke and gets a call.
Julian gets it down. Burke gets it up. It is blocked. It is blocked. Comes rolling downfield. And it will be Auburn blocking the field goal try. There is a penalty marker down on the play. A penalty marker is down on the play.
So it's first down at the Auburn 16. And as the Tigers argue the call, the Vols go for the knockout punch. After moving to the 2, Tennessee picks up what appears to be a fatal procedure penalty, backing themselves up to the 7. But Kelly, who was struggling with his throwing, wasn't having any problem checking off. He called this short side option at the line, and Amsler took it home. Tennessee 26, Auburn 9 with 14:48 remaining. That's when Stan White really went to work, and all the breaks began to go the Tigers' way. White began filling the air with footballs and finding his receivers. At the UT 23, the first of the breaks came. White hits Taylor, who coughs up the ball, but an alert Shane Wasden recovers for the Tigers. And Auburn gets a Jim Von Weil field goal out of a drive that would have been stopped if the Vols had grabbed the fumble. The Big Orange offense picked the wrong time to bog down, and 3 plays later, the hot-handed White got another crack. This time, the UT defense stiffened, and with 10 minutes to play, Auburn faced a 4th and 6 at the Vol 45.
Auburn to the line.
Moving on to the Vol 13, Auburn was faced with another 4th down situation, and again, they converted.
Here's White rolling to the near side, looking into the end zone. Pass downfield is touchdown, Overton. Overton came back to make the catch and dances in to score. So Overton makes the touchdown, and Auburn comes when the money's on the line with the touchdown pass from White to Overton, and the Tigers are on the board trailing by only 8.
After an exchange of punts, Auburn took over on the UT 43, and everyone in Jordan-Hare Stadium knew what was coming. First, White went to tight end Fred Baxter for 22 yards. Then Joseph carried to the Vol 11 for another first down. But the Tennessee defense found its resolve, and 3 straight Tiger plays did not net an inch. So Auburn would go for 3 out of 3 on 4th down conversions. You could get a bet against that from any football fan, but on this night, no one was betting against Stan White. Under pressure, White found Greg Taylor, and he took the ball away from Dale Carter for a touchdown. Without hesitation, Pat Dye called for his kicking team, and Von Weil converted. Stunningly, the game was tied at 26-all. There was still 1:50 left, and Tennessee hadn't moved the ball in what seemed like hours. But in what would later become a Tennessee trademark, here came the Big Orange. Tony Thompson ran for 7. Andy Kelly sprinted for 11 more. Kelly to Pickens for 15 more. Then Kelly to Harper nets 14. But there's a flag down. What will be the call? A late hit on Auburn, and suddenly the ball's at the Tiger 15. 20 seconds remain.
The crowd stands as it's down with 15 seconds to go to a 34-yard field goal try by Greg Burke. Snap down. Kick by Burke is in the air. The kick by Burke is no good. No good. Off to the left. 11 seconds to go. The field goal try by Burke is no good. And so it's tied at 26.
To Tennessee Football Classics Vintage Orange, the 1990 Tennessee football season. So the Volunteers had survived the loss of Chuck Webb with the emergence of Tony Thompson at tailback. Still, that tie at Auburn in 1990 was a setback for the Tennessee team. The following game, the Florida Gators came to Neyland Stadium, Tennessee needing a big win to stay in the SEC race.
After a week off, Tennessee returned home for a homecoming battle with unbeaten Florida. The Gators had to be chomping at the bit to get at the Volunteers. After all, the Big Orange had looked pretty susceptible to the pass in the Auburn game, and passing is what Steve Spurrier's Florida team does best. Emotion also appeared to be on the Gators' side. The Tennessee game was a bowl game for the Gators. After a scoreless first quarter, Tennessee got on the board first as Greg Amsler scored from a yard out. On defense, the Big Orange was dominating Florida, and the Gators could manage only this Arden Krzyzewski field goal. But on the half's final play, the Gators had a chance to change the course of the game. Will White intercepted this Andy Kelly Hail Mary and appeared on his way for a go-ahead score. White got tangled with one of his own players and slid to the turf, leaving Tennessee with a precarious 7-3 lead. Everyone was expecting Florida to explode, but Dale Carter and the Tennessee defense took care of that.
Here's the kickoff coming downfield. Tennessee's going to take the ball at the 10. Back up to the 15, working to the 20. Stutter stepping to the 25, breaking to the 30. Outside to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50. Cutting to the far sideline, down to the 45, to the 40. 35-30. Is there a flag on the play? I don't see one. 15, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown! Carter! Tennessee scores on a kickoff return by Dale Carter, and Tennessee explodes into a 13-3 advantage. What a run back by Dale Carter.
That one will go in the highlight film, John. That's a run of the year. What a run that was. He broke made a beautiful move early on to find a little daylight, and then broke some tackles, had 2 people hit him. Great cut back to the middle of the field. What a run.
After a great kickoff return of their own, Florida moved to the ball 38, where Sean Walker caused Eric Riff to fumble, and Jeremy Lincoln recovered. From there, the Vols pieced together a 62-yard drive that Tony Thompson finished off with his 13-yard run. 21-3 Big Orange, and it would get worse. On the Vols' next possession, offensive coordinator Phil Fulmer reached deep into his playbook once again.
Here's the reverse fake. A long, long pass downfield for Tennessee is going to be touchdown, Tennessee! It was thrown by Von Reeves. It was received by Carl Pickens. And so Tennessee's Von Reeves throws a touchdown pass as the Volunteers run the tight end around. And the pass to Pickens for 47 yards.
An end-around pass. We haven't seen that in a long time, John, but I love it. They really suckered Florida with it, and he pulled it up and let it fly, and he just threw it as long and deep as he could and let the man run under it.
The defense was satisfied with a 25-point lead, so they put some points of their own on the board. Reggie Ingram, forced into action at middle linebacker for the suspended Dotson, picked off this Brian Fox pass and rambled 22 yards to give Tennessee a 35-3 advantage. But there would be no let-up and no comebacks on this night. The magnificent Carter intercepted his second pass of the game and raced 31 yards to set up a Greg Burke field goal. Seconds later, Ingram pounced on this Florida fumble at the Gator 23, setting up the Vols' final touchdown, which came on this Sterling Hinton run. On an electric night at Neyland Stadium, Tennessee's 45-3 win was a clear indication that the Vols were legitimate national championship contenders. Moving up to number 3 in the national polls, it was clear the 4-0-2 Volunteers were in the hunt for the number 1 spot. But before worrying about that, Tennessee would have to settle an old score with Alabama. With a defensive style akin to old stall tactics in basketball, Alabama had taken a crowd expecting a rout and left them speechless. Now it was Hollingsworth's turn. The senior signal caller took his team 69 yards on the opening drive of the third quarter, eating up nearly 6 minutes of the clock and getting an all-important 26-yard field goal from Doyle. In the face of this offensive inefficiency, the Vol defense was playing brilliantly once again. And it became clear that if UT were to pull this one out, it would be up to the Big Orange D. Early in the fourth period, they made it happen. Darrell Hardy blasted Robert Jones at the Bama 33, and the Vols were alive as Walker recovered.
Julian to hold. The kick by Burke is in the air. It's angling downfield. The kick by Burke is good. Burke knocks home a tying 51-yard field goal.
The Vols' chance to win came with 3:21 to go. After leaving the Tide with a 4th and 10 situation at their own 1, the Volunteer defense forced Alabama to punt. This Dale Carter return set up the UT offense at the Bama 35. Again, the Volunteers were going nowhere, advancing the ball just 2 yards. So here it was, Burke again from 50, and the results were disastrous.
From the left hash mark, Martin snaps. Julian holds. Burke tries the field goal. It is blocked. It's rolling back downfield, and it's been covered by Tennessee, but Alabama's going to have the ball at the 35-yard line.
On trotted Doyle and the 47-yard field goal attempt that could win it. Doyle may never have hit one more true, as the Crimson Tide claimed a 9-6 victory, and the Vol seniors would not taste triumph against Alabama. It is said that time heals all wounds, but an Alabama loss lasts a year. Nevertheless, the week off before the Temple game couldn't have come at a better time for Andy Kelly. This warm November afternoon would belong to Kelly and Roland Poles. Kelly hit on 15 of 21 passes for 264 yards and regained his confidence. And Poles scored 3 touchdowns as the Vols ground out a solid 41-20 win over the Temple Owls to right the ship.
The 9th game of the 1990 football season for Tennessee was against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It had been 11 years since Notre Dame came to Knoxville. In 1979, Notre Dame beat the Volunteers 40-18. But Tennessee had high hopes in this contest when the top-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish came to Neyland Stadium. It turned out to be one of the most dramatic games in the stadium's history.
Tennessee fans had been looking forward to this game for a year. The national media was out in force in Knoxville. The world was watching on CBS television, and fans around the country were expecting a shootout. In Tennessee's glorious 100-year history, rarely has a game been hyped like the Vols meeting with #1 Notre Dame. The Big Orange drew first blood on this Greg Burke field goal. But Notre Dame answered quickly as Rick Meyer hit Rodney Culver for 59 yards and a touchdown. The half ended with the two teams trading threes. The Irish 10-6 lead was to be precarious at best as play began in the third quarter. Tennessee grabbed the lead only 1:24 into the second half as Kelly led a furious charge that left Thompson to do the honors from 10 yards out. Notre Dame regained a 4-point advantage only 24 seconds later when Ricky Watters popped a 66-yard run. Momentum seemed to have turned the Irish way, but no one bothered to tell Andy Kelly. Kelly was directing the Vol hurry-up offense with precision, and with 10 minutes left in the third period, Tennessee had taken the lead again.
Kelly fakes to Amsler, looking, throws the ball deep into the end zone. It is touchdown, Tennessee! Alvin Harper! Kelly threads the needle on the post route, and Alvin Harper catches the ball for the Volunteers. He had the inside on All-American Todd Light, and it was Tennessee's Alvin Harper for the touchdown catch of 32 yards, and the Volunteers lead.
Tennessee's 20-17 lead looked to have evaporated late in the third quarter when Craig Henrick connected on a 23-yard field goal. But Lincoln was ruled offside, giving Notre Dame a first down at the UT 3. 2 plays later, Lincoln became a hero. Hardy knocked the ball out of Culver's arms, but there was Lincoln to recover. Tennessee was backed up deep and was forced to punt from their own end zone. It was at that moment that Vol fans got to see the rocket. Raheem Ismail is Notre Dame's explosive wingback, and the Big Orange had held him in check for nearly 3 quarters. That's about all you can hope for as Ismail's 38-yard punt return set up a Henrick tray that tied it. The Volunteers broke the deadlock almost immediately. Mixing the run and pass, Tennessee moved 55 yards and took 5 minutes off the fourth quarter. In what was to be the case all season, Burke was asked to kick a pressure-packed 45-yarder, and he answered. Vols 23, Irish 20. Now all the Big Orange had to do was hold on, but that is obviously easier said than done. A 20-yard Chapman punt left the Irish in business at the Vol 43, and 4 plays later, here's Watters for 10 yards and the go-ahead score. The clincher came a minute 30 seconds later. After a Kelly interception, Ismail took the handoff and exploded down the sideline for a 44-yard touchdown. Notre Dame was in front, 34-23, with just over 3 minutes left. Fans who streamed to the exits to beat the traffic missed it. Kelly hit 6 of 9 passes on a hell-bent drive to the Irish goal line. And again, it was Alvin Harper with a clutch catch.
Kelly back to throw, looking into the end zone. Man is there. Touchdown, Big Orange, to Alvin Harper. So Kelly goes up top, and Harper comes down with the football, makes the catch, and now Tennessee trails 34-29.
You know what made that play, John? And he delivered the ball immediately. He threw it, and he threw it out there and let Harper run under it and instead of having to go out there and wait for it, and it takes so long to get it delivered.
A couple of balls managed individual records in the game. Kelly hit on 35 of 60 passes for 399 yards. All of those numbers are school records. Same goes for Carl Pickens, 13 receptions. The 34-29 defeat at the hands of the Irish was Tennessee's first in the month of November in 6 years. But there was plenty left to play for. Florida had embarrassed Auburn the previous week, leaving the Tigers tied with UT in the SEC race, but far below the Volunteers in the national polls. That meant one thing. Winning the last 3 would leave them in the Sugar Bowl. The drive to New Orleans began with a drive to Memphis to face 8-1 Ole Miss. The Rebels were in the same boat as the Volunteers. If you mark out, you go to the Sugar Bowl. So this game was the most important between the two schools in over 20 years. Ole Miss coach Billy Brewer called it his university's most important game ever. Maybe that could account for the Rebels' stage fright. After Burke gave Tennessee a 3-0 lead, Ole Miss drove to the ball 16, where a bad pitch by quarterback Tom Luke was recovered by Roderick Lewis. Luke was victimized on the Rebels' next possession. With the ball at the UT 25, Dwayne Dotson picked off this Luke aerial to snuff out another Mississippi drive. The third time proved to be the charm for Ole Miss. Marvin Courtney took this pitch and rambled to the ball 6, setting up the Rebels' first touchdown on a pass from Luke to Derek Owens. Ole Miss was in front 7-3 after 1, but it could have been more. The second period was more of the same for the Rebels. Luke ran for 23 yards into Tennessee territory, but it was cracked by Lewis, and Lincoln fell on the ball. Then after driving to the ball 17, kicker Brian Lee misfired on this field goal try. The ball offense had been quiet during the Ole Miss assault, but gathered itself shortly before the half ended. Kelly began to thread the needle. First, he went to tight end Mark Adams for 25 yards and a first down at the ball 45. After a couple of short completions, Kelly hit Greg Amsler, who boomed to the Ole Miss 8. Then with 3rd and goal at the 1, Kelly and Harper hooked up to provide the Big Orange with a 10-7 halftime lead. Amazing when you consider Mississippi had driven into UT territory 5 times and scored only 7 points. The Rebel attack turned aside. Tennessee began to take over midway through the 3rd period. The Vols took nearly 8 minutes off the clock with a 14-play, 68-yard drive that culminated with Thompson's 1-yard burst. With the team in front by 10, the Volunteer defense was rested and beginning to put the clamps on the Rebel offense. Meanwhile, the Vol offense turned to Amsler, much as they had turned to William Howard against the Rebels 3 years before. The senior fullback carried 6 straight times for 36 yards, moving Tennessee into position for another Burke field goal. Up 20-7 with only 3:52 left, most Big Orange fans thought it was over. Russ Shows didn't think so. The Rebels' backup quarterback started throwing the ball all over the place and finding receivers open. With 1:54 left, this Shows to Owens completion went for 29 yards and a touchdown. Ole Miss was within 7, and the almost automatic extra point would make it 6. But 2 Vol backups made this conversion try anything but normal. Ryan Patterson blocked the kick, and Floyd Miley scooped it up. Almost running out of gas along the way, Miley made it 97 yards to the other end zone, writing his name in the Tennessee record books as the first UT player to score 2 points by returning a blocked extra point. That sealed it. The Big Orange had beaten the Rebels 22-13. 1 traditional rival down and 2 to go. Tennessee was a 28-point favorite to beat Kentucky and keep the beer barrel the next week. But it's obvious odds makers don't know much about this series. It was going to be a struggle, and Bill Curry's Wildcats proved that on their first drive. Going 62 yards and 11 plays, UK's Al Baker found the end zone to put the Cats in front 7-0. More Kentucky to come. Wildcat linebacker Derek Thomas picked off this Kelly screen pass and made it to the ball 20. 2 plays later, UK backup quarterback Ryan Hockman found Phil Logan for a 9-yard touchdown. 10 minutes into the game, and the Cats were up 14. Early in the second quarter, Tennessee needed a big play, and in 1990, that meant Kelly to Pickens.
Kelly off play action to throw. Looking, long pass downfield. The man is there. The pass is going to be complete. Tennessee 20, 15, 10, 5. Give him 6. Carl Pickens goes 71 shorting yards. And Tennessee showed its speed as it was Kelly unlimbering his arm and rifling it downfield to Carl Pickens, who dances home the final 20 as he ran off and left Willis 71 yards on the home run.
Kentucky wasn't impressed. Moving to the ball 22, the drive stalled, but at 4 and 6, the Wildcats felt they had nothing to lose. So a fake field goal was the call, and it worked. Steve Phillips to Rodney Jackson, and the Cats were back in front by 14. Tennessee was in dire need of a break and got it shortly before the first half ended. Mark Moore pounced on a Mike Thomas fumble at the UK 12, setting up this Kelly to Harper scoring strike. For the second week in a row, the Big Orange was lucky to be where they were at the half, and they needed to get off to a good start in the second half. Enter Dale Carter.
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. He's down to the 45. One man to beat. Stiff arm him. He's at the 30. He's at the 25. He's at the 20, but he stepped out of bounds. Maybe did he? Yes. But Tennessee has excellent field position at the Kentucky 30-yard line as Dale Carter returns the opening kickoff and electrifies the crowd, much as he did against Florida earlier this year. It's Dale Carter, 68 yards, Tennessee first down.
He's an exciting guy, John. I tell you, you never know what he's going to do. He sits back there a lot of times. Sometimes you think he stays a little bit too slow coming out there with it, but he really brought that one back. Now let's see if the offense can push it in.
Kelly had no problem from there, hitting Pickens with a tying score from 12 yards away. Then came Moore Carter, taking this Bill Hawk punt and going 31 yards to the Wildcat 47. The balls moved to the 22 when a 3rd and 7 came up. A good time to go to Harper if you're Andy Kelly, but Harper was hurt. So Kelly went to his replacement, Anthony Morgan, for 6, and the Vols had the lead. It became 35-21 shortly thereafter. Carter, obviously seeking All-American honors, picked off this Hockman aerial on his way to a 24-yard touchdown.
Hockman throwing across the middle. It is intercepted. Tennessee 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Dale Carter. Tennessee's Carter, 41 yards. And Bill, Dale Carter brings this team, brings this crowd to life.
I think he's made the difference. He did it in the Florida game. He came back here in the second half, and his kickoff return kind of changed the tempo and picked Tennessee's team up, I think.
Now, after a 21-point barrage, one would think that the young Cats were finished. Instead, they closed with a rush. Midway through the 4th period, Hockman guided Kentucky 55 yards into the end zone via this pass to Logan. UT led 35-28. This was the moment of truth. The Sugar Bowl was there, and now the Vol offense had to get it done. And the white-hot Kelly was the man. He hit Pickens 4 times in leading Tennessee to the UK 25. Then Kelly looked to throw again.
2 wideouts left, 2 right. Kelly to throw. Pass down and out. Caught by Pickens. He battles for a first down. He frees himself at the 15. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. He is into the end zone. Touchdown, Carl Pickens. A big, big play.
Kelly's 5th touchdown set a school record and finished off Tennessee's 42-28 win over Kentucky. One more note. With his 79 yards on the ground, Tony Thompson had become only the 4th back in Vol history to gain over 1,000 yards in a season.
The Tennessee Football Classics Vintage Orange, the 1990 Tennessee football season. The last game of the year was against the Vanderbilt Commodores. Tennessee needed the victory to win its 11th SEC championship. And again, Tennessee had to come from behind to win this one in Nashville.
Vanderbilt limped into its season finale with Tennessee at 1-9 and had only pride to play for. But news leaked out of the Music City late in the week that Coach Watson Brown's job was on the line, and by game time, the Commodores were sky high. The first half would be a back-and-forth affair. Like Kentucky the previous week, Vandy scored first. This Corey Harris 5-yard run gave the Doors a 7-0 lead. Tennessee got even midway through the first period when Thompson swept in for the touchdown. Vanderbilt came right back, marching 80 yards to score. Marcus Wilson does the honors from a yard out. 14-7 Vandy. Now it's the Big Orange turn, driving 68 yards to the Commodore 14. It's 3rd and goal.
Kelly back to throw across the middle into the end zone. Touchdown, Tennessee on a deflection. Alvin Harper scores for the Big Orange. His 8th TD of the year.
Jeff Owen broke the tie with a 38-yard field goal just before the half ended. And with a 17-14 advantage, Vanderbilt led Tennessee at the intermission for the 4th year in a row. And for the 4th year in a row, Vanderbilt ended up losing to Tennessee. First, Thompson scored on this 12-yard run early in the period to give the Vols a lead they would never relinquish. After another Owen tray cut the deficit to 21-20, the end came rather suddenly for the Commodores. First, Thompson scored on an 11-yard gallop. Following a Vandy fumble, Kelly went to Pickens for a 20-yard touchdown pass. A double unsportsmanlike conduct penalty gave Tennessee its next possession on the Vandy 15. And Thompson's 13-yard dash to the end zone marked his 4th touchdown of the game and gave him 236 yards rushing. The final UT touchdown was a sweet one for Dwayne Dodson. Hailing from nearby Hendersonville, Donson's 27-yard interception return for a touchdown capped off the scoring. The celebration began. 8-2-2 Tennessee had won the game 49-20. And thanks to an Alabama win over Auburn, they had captured their 2nd consecutive SEC title. The Sugar Bowl awaited. The Vols' first Sugar Bowl date in 5 years would pit number 10 Tennessee and unranked Virginia. The Cavaliers were the nation's #1 team for 3 weeks in October, but lost 3 of their last 4 games to finish at 8-3. One of the contributing factors in that slide was a thumb injury to talented Sean Moore. Moore, who finished 4th in the Heisman Trophy voting, had surgery in mid-November, but would be available for the Sugar Bowl. Would Moore be at 100%? That answer would be a key to the game. The Vols were 5-point favorites over Virginia. Some people even talked of a blowout. That would have been okay with the Tennessee fans who set the Superdome to rocking before the game. But the first drive of the night for the Cavaliers ended that kind of talk. Moore's passing to Herman Moore and the running of Terry Kirby and Gary Steele paced the Wahoos steadily down the field. Steele quieted the crowd with his 10-yard run. Darrell Hardy blocked the extra point, leaving the score Virginia 6, Tennessee nothing. Offensively, the first half would be a malady of errors for the Big Orange. On UT's first possession, the Vols moved to the Cavalier 35 before Thompson tossed up the ball. Later, Andy Kelly would suffer 2 interceptions while in Virginia territory, and Greg Burke would miss a long field goal. Virginia, on the other hand, was making it work. After a 13-yard punt gave the Cavaliers the ball at the UT 28, Moore worked his charges into position for Jake McInerney to kick a 22-yard field goal. At the end of one, Tennessee was down 9. The second quarter belonged to UVA as well. A 15-play, 80-yard drive that took 7 minutes ended with Kirby scoring from a yard out. So the first half ended with Virginia in front, 16-0. It might have been worse had it not been for Sean Moore's thumb problem and Dale Carter. Moore threw for 2 open receivers on deep routes and simply could not get the ball there. Carter batted one away and intercepted this one. Moore's problems were a key later. No team this year had held the ball scoreless in the half until the Sugar Bowl. So the Big Orange went to work on their first possession of the second half to make certain it didn't happen again. The sputter and jerk drive went 55 yards and produced only 3 points. But UT was on the board and gaining confidence.
7 yards per game.
It remained 16-3 until early in the fourth quarter, but on the first play of the final canto, Thompson made the big play for the Volunteers.
Kelly gives to Thompson, skirts to the outside, darts back to the inside, breaks free, has the ball to the 35, to the 40, spins free to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40, to the 35, all the way down to the 30-yard line before he's finally tackled by Jason Wallace. But that, Bill Anderson, was a run of beauty.
It really was. Thompson did a tremendous job, Johnny. He got the corner there, made the corner cut pretty clean. They got some good blocking there, but after that, it was just all on his own. He did an outstanding job running.
4 plays later, Thompson did the honors from 7 yards away, and with 13 minutes left, the Big Orange was down only 6. Virginia took the ensuing kickoff and moved to the UT 46. There, the drive stalled, and the Cavaliers were forced to punt. But a highly controversial roughing the kicker penalty gave UVA a first down at the Vol 31 and set up a McInerney field goal that left Virginia in front 19-10 with 7:34 left. The Cavalier fans began to celebrate, but they apparently didn't realize how Tennessee's season had gone. Last-second comebacks were the best part of Andy Kelly's act. 80 yards away, no problem. Kelly to Vince Moore for 12. Kelly to Amsler for 15. And then Kelly to Pickens for 15 yards and the touchdown. It took 9 plays total, but with just over 4 minutes remaining, the Vols were within 2. Sean Moore knew it wasn't over. Moore raced for 22 yards to the UT 46 and then got a break when the Big Orange was penalized 15 yards for having too many men on the field. That infraction put Virginia in position for a third McInerney field goal, this one from 44. So a field goal wouldn't win it, but a touchdown would. Yet with 2:31 to play, the Vols had a chance. After picking up a first down at their own 33, Kelly found Pickens for 8 yards. Then Andy looked up Carl again. This completion covered 22. 1st and 10 at the Virginia 45. After an incompletion, Thompson gained 5 to the 40, and the Big Orange was facing a crucial third down situation.
Tennessee lines up with Amsler as the tailback. Virginia spelling the run would be my guess. Kelly audibles at the line. Virginia stays in the 4-man line. Amsler for the first down. He's got it and more as he pounds down to the 17-yard line. This is Kelly faking the draw on play action. Throwing the ball, it's complete. Pulled down by Tennessee at the 5-yard line. Struggling, this will be Harper. He is buried as he gets to the 4. It was Alvin Harper who makes the catch, and Tennessee sees the clock stop with 40 seconds to go in a 5-point game. Tennessee lines it up with Amsler in there as the running back. Kelly is the quarterback. Amsler with the ball, right side, pounding his way down to the 1-yard line. Tennessee has it at the 1, and the Volunteers use the final timeout. Tennessee to the line of scrimmage. They go into a power I set. The tailback is Thompson. The quarterback is Kelly. The score 22-17. The dive, touchdown! Big Orange in the Superdome. Tony Thompson dives into the end zone, and the captain scores the go-ahead touchdown. The Volunteers lead 23-22 with 31 seconds left to go as McRae and Myslinski bury the defenders, and sailing in, catapulting home for a 1-point lead is Tennessee's Tony Thompson.
Virginia had but 31 seconds and was forced to lift the sore-thumbed Moore. Matt Blunden had no luck as a replacement. After missing on his first try, Blunden was sacked by Chris Mims. Out of timeouts, Blunden had one last chance.
7 seconds to go. The score 23-22. Tennessee leading Virginia. Matt Blunden fading to throw. Blunden long pass downfield. This one's going to be intercepted. Tennessee's Carter at the 30, to the 35, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, to the 45, to the 40. Cuts to the outside to the 30. Will be caught from behind and rains down. But this football game is history. And Dale Carter puts the exclamation point at the end as Tennessee comes from behind and wins this football game by a score of 23-22. And Tennessee is the Southeastern Conference champion, the U.S. F&G Sugar Bowl champion. It was not easy, but Tennessee stayed in the football game and winning it with the offensive line taking charge in the 4th quarter.